bring 'em out, bring 'em out, bring 'em out, bring 'em out. It's hard to yell when the barrel's in your mouth. Come on. Bring 'em out, bring 'em out. Hey. Bring 'em out, bring 'em out. Bring 'em out, bring 'em out. Hey. Bring 'em out.
All right. Looks like we're live, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Well. So, guys, I hope you like the new and fresh, updated intro. Shout out to Adam for the intro. I think that was very nice, my friend. You can also look at the screen and look to this side. Yeah. No, you
That
got
side.
yeah, that side. Yes, sir. So now we got a little setup of what we're going to discuss. That way, you guys are informed of what's going on, what we're going to discuss tonight. And if you look at the very bottom, under his big head, you can see that we have a ticker at the bottom. So we got a ticker right now of all the SEC scores from the previous weekend. So every week you realize that we're trying to get better and better, and we're trying to add to the show and increase its value. So shout out to Adam. Shout out to Adam for all the theatrics and whatnot. Really appreciate that, sir.
Definitely do.
You know, I make it seem more difficult than it is, but it's just one of those things, just finding the time to do it.
All right, guys, let's go ahead and dive into it. So, first thing first, we're going to speak on the FIU game.
Matt's already disappearing.
Yeah, well, everybody got used to
Well,
He's back.
Need my drink.
All right. So, once again, Arkansas defeats FIU at home in front of a crowd of what they say 61,000. Is that what they said? Is that what they
Yeah.
reported?
It's like 61, 442 or something like that. 66. Yeah.
It sound good. It really do. I like it. But in reality, I know a lot of people posted pictures previous before the game started. I told you like a high school jamboree. I was like, no, they must be outside tailgate getting drunk because they know.
They
It's gonna
mentioned
be a shit
on air, like, maybe everybody's out hunting or whatever. And I'm just like, but, from the TV viewpoint, a lot of the pans and the video they take of the crowd and whatnot's taken, well before the game starts. But from what it sounded like, fans trickled in after kickoff. So,
So at this point, Lord have mercy. We 4-7.
yes.
4-7. 1-6 conference record. A win streak of uno. 3-3 at home. We 1-3 on the road and 0-1 in neutral site. Those are sad ass statistics, brother. Sad statistics. But looking at the game against FIU, we ended up winning 44-20. Now, my whole thought process about that game, this was Kenny Guidance' continued resume builder to potentially take over as OC. It also was KJ's opportunity to take over another record, which he did. It also, to me, was an opportunity to see some young guys play, which we got a chance to see, which was great. And I just want to know, if you're not putting the 50-piece lemon pepper on these dudes, it's almost like you lost to me. Like I wanted them to dominate them. I want them to squash them and only have 7 or 3 points, but that didn't happen. They let them score 20. Any ideas, any discussion on the FIU game? What did you guys see?
I thought it was like a lot of our games that we start off quick on the first drive. You get some momentum, you get some hype, and then you just get hit in the face, and it's kind of like, here we go again. Yeah. So, it was good to get out early, but then when we were down like 13-7 or whatever it was, I was just like, oh, man, let's see us dig ourselves out of this one. But, it was good to see. We saw more of our running backs, not going down on initial hits. There were more holes that was opened up, and you would hope that was the case when you're playing the level of competition that they were.
Right.
So it is what it is. I was glad to see Augusto in there. I've been wanting to see him, which I know they were saving because red shirt stuff. So I'm hoping we see quite a bit of him against Mizzou, but we'll get to that. But it was good seeing these guys break through, make runs, hitting the holes, actually have holes opened up for them, not having a defensive line 1 to 2 yards deep in the backfield. So it was a nice change on that aspect.
Yeah, it was interesting. You talk about the red shirt. The man Ben burnt this red shirt because he was playing special teams all damn year. Which is crazy to me. I forgot. Let me see what game. It's the Auburn game. Looking at the Auburn game, I remember the kick return, and I remember somebody tell me like the headhunters. And if people who don't know what the headhunters are, if you haven't played the sport, those are usually the guys who are standing right next to the kicker. Those are usually your best tacklers. Those are probably some of your faster players. They can get right downfield in the area where the ball is being projected and make a tackle. The fact they told me that Broden was a damn headhunter, I was like, what? Why? Why do you have an offensive skill player who doesn't tackle on the damn kickoff team? For what? And he's 6'7". That shit that's it bothered me. I was like, you're supposed to have some linebackers, some hard hitters that's gonna run down the field and knock somebody block off. So that was interesting to me. But to speak on that, when it went 7-7, I was like, here we go again. Here we go again. I just want them to just dominate these guys and establish themselves. Once I seen the lineup on film, I was like, wait a minute, their offensive line is freshmen and sophomores? I was like, oh, so the defensive line should have a bunch of sacks today. Anybody see Landon Jackson? Is he still Mel Kiper's #1 defensive end to be drafted?
Well, I mean, I text y'all before the game that this should be a game with them playing FIU that he shows up and shows out, and didn't really happen. I mean, he got two sacks towards the end of the game, but it wasn't what you would expect from the #1 defensive end prospect.
Yeah. That means Mel Kiper talent evaluation is skewed as well, kind of like Sam Pittman's. But go ahead.
That's why they shouldn't have got rid of Todd McShay.
He was the man. Anyway. He'll show up somewhere around draft time. What you got, Matt? What's your thoughts on the FIU?
I was about to say excited, and that was not the right word. I was happy to see that they got a running game going. We talked about Augustov in the very first show we had, and him being the future. And man, we saw it Saturday. Now it was a lesser opponent, so I need to, back up on that a little bit. But it was just good to see him. You can tell he's a little different, and he's got potential. As far as that, and then we saw Satania. Hey, that was nice.
Got excited.
Where's he been? Yeah. But other than that, it's pretty much what I expected. They got a couple of, chunk plays with the speed and just cutbacks, really.
Yeah.
It was just good plays by the player that was making them, and a little bit of over pursuit on the defense. Otherwise, it was a decent outing, I would say, by the team.
Yeah. Isaiah, how you pronounce his last name?
Augustov.
The man had 14 carries for 101. That's nice. No loss of yards. He was leaning forward the whole time. He averaged 7.2 yards per carry. That's nice for a guy who hadn't been playing. Now, Matt, you don't have to say anything about any information that you have behind the scene, but it's no way AJ Green is staying. It's not adding up. The man had 9 carries for them 29 yards. It just I couldn't make sense of it. It didn't make sense. So I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know if DeBean only had 2 carries. So I don't know what was up with him. I don't know if he's 100% healthy or he's dealing with something. So
they got injured and were in street clothes in the second half of the game.
Gotcha.
Him and Rocket.
Gotcha. So that is what it is. Now I had a question I've been asking all week to myself, and I want to ask you guys. Where the hell is Bryce Stevens?
Yeah.
Honestly, I haven't thought much.
And it's interesting because when we talked about preseason, they were speaking on him highly. Like Jaden Wilson wasn't even in the mix. I mean, they threw his name in there, but I mean, he wasn't even in the mix. They were speaking on, they were saying, hey, maybe Satania could take over those reps in the slot, but then they were telling us that the man can't block. So I don't know what the hell happened to Bryce Stevens, but I'm going to go ahead and throw his name in there in the early portal departure. It just don't make sense that we haven't heard from this man. I haven't heard anything about injuries on him. And he hasn't been mentioned, and he hasn't been getting any tick. So that's been interesting. You only had Armstrong, Tesla, Satania, Wilson, Bax, and Broden with catches. This man ain't played all season. I don't think. I can check his total season stats, but I don't
Now
think he's played all year.
there's several people out there that have asked where he is with no answers. So he just hadn't shown or hadn't been on the field.
Yeah. So I mean, the whole thing about what's my goddamn name that got hurt in preseason? M'Bakke.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't matter if M'Bakke played or not because KJ been getting sacked and running for his life all year long. So that was what it was. Either way, FIU, it came, it went. To me, like I said, they should have scored 50. They should have dominated these guys. They should have had 20. But it was what it was. Arkansas going Arkansas sometimes. So that's that. Looking into that, next we're going to go into Samuel Pittman being retained. Now, that was interesting. I guess Hunter Yurachek at some point realized that he needed to. And somebody said, I think SP is horrible at evaluating talent and playing abilities. I'm going to jump into that comment a little bit later before we leave football. But Pittman being retained. So I see the Money Manziel sign. So we're talking about money. At the end of the day, in one aspect, I want him to stay in the sense of continuity because I'm tired of starting over. On the other hand, I feel like Hunter Yurachek has to force his hand to make some changes in order for him to stay for another year and to possibly, have an opportunity to obtain a longer contract. What you guys got on that?
Well, I think if we start out slow, we start out 2-2 next year. I know I'm jumping ahead, but all right, he's being retained. I would expect you would think there's going to be change on the staff on the offensive side.
And I'm saying more than one. I'm saying more than one.
And it may be, Guyton and them may be gone. There was a report put out by was it Brandon Marcello, something like that had said that Cody Kennedy would be the one possibly retained, which would really upset some people if that were the case. I feel like going back to what I was meaning next year, we play UAPB the first game, then we play Oklahoma State, might be an L. Then I forget the third game. I think it's another non-conference small lesser opponent.
And then we play A&M.
Yeah, and then Texas A&M. So you could be 2-2, and
you can be 1-3.
It's just going to start. Yeah, you could be 1-3. It could be whatever.
Right.
I don't think we'll be 3-1. I just don't see it. But I like Sam. I like Sam a lot. I think
we all do.
We all
do. I don't think nobody's wrong for that. We all like him personally. But hell, we want to win. We get tired of being the doormat of the SEC.
And that's what we are. Overconfident in his ability. He missed out on a couple of guys in the portal last year, and he thought he could just coach up a couple of guys and insert them in, and would be all right. And it backfired on him, combined with changing the philosophy and all of that. He's made some mistakes, and I mean, in a way, we had to expect this, even though I didn't think it would go like this, because he had no experience. So he's learning on the job training. So it just sucks because we've had so many close games. Everybody's tired of losing by a point, or a possession. I mean, except for the Auburn game, every other game was practically one possession game, if I recall, for the last seemed like 2 years.
Yeah.
It's just, if I put it like this, I have a feeling if it gets a little rough midway through next year, there'll be a lot of pressure for Hunter to fire Sam mid-season, and there was going to be blowback on Hunter, which I hate because I think Hunter's an excellent AD and somewhat undeserving of that, but boosters weren't going to put up the money for this change, plus the perception of always changing the coach every few years. It's just all of that combines. We're trying to get some stability, like you talked about. It's just it's in a way it's a hope and a prayer, and to save a buck.
Look,
because we would have. Wait, one last point. Sorry, I'm sorry. But if we did this if we had fired him and did this buyout and it would have been $16 million, we would have 2 coaches in the top 10 of all-time buyout payouts, if I recall correctly. Bielema, I believe, is in the top 10, and then you would have Pittman, put him in the top 5. I believe it would have been.
Chad Morris is like right at number 10.
Yeah, he's number 10.
Okay,
yeah.
So there's 3. So that's not you got rotation and all that money going out. That's not a good look.
Gotcha. So I'm with Teresa here. I decided to sit back and watch either fireworks or fire sale. Look, at this point, I don't give a damn who you go get recruiting, who you go get as a OC, offensive line coach. I don't give a damn what recruit you get. Tell me when it's an SEC game next year on the schedule and we playing. Tag me in that. I can't buy the hype because we know spring ball is going to be, this person caught this many balls and this many touchdowns. And I'm like, we playing against our own team. They're supposed to kick their ass. So I don't expect nothing different. You got to put me on the field against an SEC team and let me see what we got. I don't want to hear nothing about it until then. At the end of the day, I'm one of those guys that follows recruiting, so I get excited about guys. I know a lot of people say, call me or tag me when they sign the ink is on the ink is dry. But at the end of the day, I looked at some information. I think it was with Otis Kirk. Looked at on the YouTube Otis Kirk, and I check that on every week. But they were talking about recruiting, and it was disturbing because it was like, some JUCO guys where I don't give a damn how big he is, because we seen some dudes as big as on the roster now. It's the reason why this man is in JUCO. Now it could be grades or anything like that, but either way, if you go after some of the better high school players, you don't have to go to the JUCO dudes. You went Division II on receivers last year, and you see what happened with that. You ain't getting no separation. So I'm not impressed. I won't be impressed until it's an SEC game the next year, and we actually on the field. That's when I'm gonna be excited. That's gonna tell me what we're really about. I can't buy into it no more. They done got me too many years selling wolf tickets, as we call it. You got to show me the real deal. I want to see these guys on the field. I don't know if Criswell will be the quarterback. I don't know if KJ will come back. None of that matters to me. Once again, show me when they play in the SEC team. Hell, Oklahoma State keep a good team. I'm looking at game 2. Game 2 going to tell me a lot about who we are. And that's going to be the truth. Because when we seen them play against West Carolina, I was like, maybe they got – we made all these excuses. And I was like, that's who the hell they are. The West Carolina team is the same team that played LSU. It's the same team that played Texas A&M. It's the same team that played Auburn. It's the same team that played FIU. These are the same guys. So at the end of the day, that's when I wait and get excited. Until then, I'll just sit back and watch. And it doesn't matter how big, how tall they are, how many miles per hour they're running. That shit didn't matter because they still getting burnt. I ain't seen nobody run 22 miles per hour and the commentator tell me about 22 miles per hour. I ain't seen it. So I don't want to hear that shit. That's all I'm saying. I don't.
Well, going to high school, we've obviously seen for linemen hadn't been it because we've been getting 4-star linemen and they've been getting beat all season. So I think that you got to look at, obviously, if Cody Kennedy's retained, if Guyton gets the permanent, there's a lot of questions that come in. Guyton's still in this interview audition period next week or Friday, not next week. Friday's his last interview, if you will. And if they bring in a new OC, he could bring in a new staff with him. He could keep some people. That's that's his call. So it's one of those things that I think that for this offensive line, I feel like they've got to go to the transfer portal to get older guys. And I say that because of the guys that we've had aren't it.
Okay. I thought about that as well. And I figured somebody else would say that because you're an intelligent young man. Here go the other side. One thing I know about Samuel Pittman, he has been consistent in 4 years and being what? Loyal to a fault. I don't give a damn who you go get. He gonna still play them dudes who be like, he came back for another year. He's loyal to the program. Fuck all that. We've been losing. They've been getting their ass whooped every week. I don't want to hear it. You got to pay. One thing about Sam Pittman is he gonna be a year behind on something. It don't matter what it is. You can tell me it's NIL. You wait till now to talk about NIL. And the thing that was interesting, it's some people that's watching. It's some people that's on here, I'm sure, who was like, "Oh, NIL is going to kill. It's going to kill college football. Oh my God, transfer portal. This is not your granddad's football. This is not Jerry Jones now. It ain't that no more. Get over that shit." So at this point, for a team like Arkansas who doesn't have top tier talent in your backyard, this is an opportunity to level the playing field. The fact that you're not maximizing that opportunity to get to level up and be competitive, that's a problem. And you can tell me about coaching some guys up all you want to. These Division II receivers and these offensive linemen that, well, they came to Arkansas because they didn't want to go there. Now they came to Arkansas because they had opportunity to play, and they still ain't ready because they ain't being developed properly by the coach. But that's neither here nor there. I'm just stating my grievance, and I'm getting it off my chest.
Well, and let's be real too with the NIL stuff. People are really mad about it just because they know about it. Nobody was saying anything before when people getting paid under the table. They had McDonald bags in the locker room for them full of money, handshake, envelope. I mean, nobody said anything before. It was all just speculation. So now that the people know the numbers and see that it's happening, now all of a sudden it's a big deal.
Look, man, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. That's what they say. We've been complaining about Alabama whooping our ass for years. Was it 16 years in a row?
Since 2006, yeah.
It's people who went. It's people on the last time. The last time we beat. Think about this. The last time we beat Alabama, whoever was on those teams, Alabama side, they have went to the NFL, had a career, and retired, and we still ain't beat them. That's crazy.
They might have a kid on Alabama.
Probably.
Exactly. I want to say Sean Alexander. Sean Alexander was on that last team. I want to say.
Yes, he was against McFadden, if I recall.
That's crazy.
I don't remember all the play. Speaking of that, like I saw a couple of days ago, like TJ Ford from Texas, the guard, his son just signed to play D1 ball, and I'm like, what? Whoa. Like TJ Ford's son's up here now? I mean, Carlos Boozer's twins are like number 1, number 2 in the nation in high school. We're getting old.
Yeah, it's crazy. All right, so Pittman got retained. Whoop the freaking do. We'll see what happens with these changes, and we'll see what comes of it, because I think it's going to be a domino effect at the end of the day. Because if I'm Kenny Guiden and then you give me an opportunity to do what I do, I can say I'm 2-1 out of 3 games.
Yep.
Wait. A little thirsty, wasn't you, sir? God damn. Hey, Adam, you hear that? Good. I said, God damn. Hey, I had to pause.
I was hoping that. Next time I'm going to hit mute.
Gotcha. All right, but at the end of the day, I looked at it and I'm like, okay, so this is where we are as a program. With Pittman being retained, it could be a domino effect, because I feel like if I'm Kenny Guiden and you give me an opportunity to do what I'm doing, and I'm going to say from my perspective, I can only speak for me, we're going to get our ass handed to us against Missouri. I'm going to go ahead and call it. I ain't got no faith in that shit. I don't. I just don't.
Your buddy, what do you call him? Drinkwater?
Yeah, Drinkwater.
Yeah, say what you want about him. He gets his team ready.
Hey, Drinkwater told Josh Heupel, we stand on business.
Yeah, I heard
that. That's what he told. I was like, that's gangster. He been listening to too much hip hop.
It's one of those things you want, this team to go out on a high note. It's just Missouri's had our number the majority of years since this started. So, it's hard to say otherwise. Whether this is KJ's last game or not, you would think that he would want to get the monkey off of his back and beat him, especially if it was his last game. But there's, like you said, there's a big domino effect. There's a lot of things that are going to happen after the season, and KJ's decision is ultimately a big one too.
Right. I think KJ can't beat Missouri by himself.
No. So, but he's got to look at, does he come back? If he comes back to college, is it with Arkansas or somebody else? I really don't see him transferring somewhere else. If he came back to college,
why wouldn't he go to Mississippi State? They gonna get a new coach anyway.
Depends on who that coach is.
Look, so the dude that's been there. Go ahead, I'm listening.
Go to Mississippi State and go 4-8. What does that do?
You gonna stay at Arkansas and go 4-8 anyway?
he doesn't have to go somewhere new though. He can blame it on the coach.
Most players say they going home. That was my whole rationale.
Oh yeah, I get
that.
that.
We know you're not going to Ole Miss because Ole Miss keeps some quarterbacks in their room. So that was just me throwing some stuff out there.
And this right here, I'm just going to say KJ going to Bama or TCU with KB. I'm just going to say this about Bama. No offense, and I'm not trying to dog KJ by any means, but Milroe has a better arm than KJ.
This is true.
So I don't see why Alabama would bring in KJ. That's just my opinion.
No.
But KJ's got to look at if because he's on that. Does he get drafted? Does he not get drafted? I'm in the he doesn't get drafted pool. But he would have to ball out at the combine to get drafted, in my opinion. He's going to have a good 40 time.
Which means he got to lose damn near 15, 20 pounds.
Exactly. But he has to make that decision, early first of the year of if he's staying or going. Whereas, in basketball, they can test the waters and then come back. And, he doesn't get that benefit necessarily in college or in football. I mean, so there's a lot of questions around it.
Yeah. Either way, that's all I got on Pittman being retained. What the freaking do, Coach? We love you personally. At the same time, we know this is a business, and we understand what that entails. It's all about winning. Winning cures all. Like we're not complaining if we win. We competitive in the country in the conference. We're not complaining at all. We're holding our head high. At the same time, the last couple of years, it's been a roller coaster ride, and who knows what this change of staff potentially is going to bring in regards to recruiting. And like I said, in 4 years, one thing I haven't seen is a talent evaluation. You missed on so many guys. The guys that I can think about have been Chad Morris guys. And you got a few guys that came in under Pittman. And as I'm looking at my screen, looking at his presser, that hoodie was player. I like that little hoodie he had on yesterday. That shit was tight.
Topic of conversation last night.
I mean, what else you gonna talk about? You supposed to stump these dudes out. Look, before we go move on, don't you got some plays we can break down?
Let's see what we can start with.
Yeah, that hoodie was hard. He pulled that bitch straight out the plastic.
So this is the Dominique Johnson's 31-yard run, I think it was.
Now
slow down a little bit.
You can pause it right there. So I'm gonna tell you, once you sent this out, I looked at it and I said, okay, I'm gonna make this clear. Joshua Braun, the transfer from Florida, which is your right guard, number 78, he's your best offensive lineman. Period, point blank. He's the most consistent. And on this particular play, once you run it, you ain't gotta run it now, but once you run it, you realize that he stays low, he engages with his hand, and he turns his body and moves his feet and makes a wall for Dominique Johnson to come through. On Dominique Johnson right side. On the left side, you got your guard and your tackle. What I want to say is that's not Crawford. That's Manuel and that's Latham. These dudes do a combo block. So basically, they go head up with the defensive lineman, and then they go to the second level linebacker. Devin Manuel arms are so long. Since the linebacker just runs in there, he just grabs him with his left arm. Just say, hey, come on over here since you want to be nosy. And for whatever reason, Bo Limmer, your center, he has nobody head up on him. He snaps the ball and just falls forward. I don't even know what was that about. But he snapped the ball with nobody in front of him. And my thought process is you so used to leaning on somebody in front of you that you don't even know what the hell to do. Go ahead and run the play. Roll that beautiful bean footage. All right, pause. Boop. Now, you can run it back a little bit. Now, this man was untouched when he ran through that hole. That's
yeah, he's dead. He's right by 78 right here.
All right, so yeah. 78 to his right. Now, when you run it back all the way, you ain't got to do it now. You can see that he engages this man and turns his body to where you can see the back of his jersey. Hell of a job on the blocking scheme. And you'll see it in a minute how Manuel actually reaches out and grabs the linebacker. Now, in this particular series, we were successful in the run game, which means that the secondary guys were up close. Nobody was back deep. So it's almost like they anticipated the run, but they blocked it up so well on this particular play It made no sense. And I don't know if y'all seen this, but your man Crawford, he just in the damn way. Again, he has no idea what the fuck he's doing. He's just in the way. He's supposed to have went to the second level and went to the linebacker. Thank goodness for Nathan Bax, who actually engaged with the guy on the end of the line. But at the end of the day, I look at it, and Crawford got lost in the sauce. This man, they recruited him twice. He went to Charlotte. They recruited him again after he came from Carthage High School. He just ain't it, and he ain't been consistent. But that's the best they got. Go ahead and run the play. Bloop, bloop. Crawford just in the damn way again. When KJ ran against Florida, once again, Crawford just is running. His ass has no clue what is going on. I'm glad to see Dominique Johnson get an opportunity to get in the end zone. That was dope. I think he need to go ahead and hang up his cleats and start his career doing something else. Nobody wants to see him get hurt again. That man had hit 2 different knees. Yeah.
Something like that. I think the next one is the 80-yard pass completion for FIU.
And let me preface this. People were tagging me to that's your boy, Hudson Clark. Now look, I looked at this play, and I looked at it, and if you don't really break down the play, you really won't know. So when you run it, what's going to happen is the guy's going to come in motion towards the bottom of the screen. The secondary is going to acknowledge that. And you got number 8, Mr. Johnson. I don't know what they're teaching these guys. I'm sure these are professionals. They know. But I'm just thinking about things that we learned in grade school that aren't being done. So basically, once he goes in motion, they acknowledge that they locked up man to man at the top of the screen with the cornerback that's very close to him. At the bottom of the screen, which is the receiver who actually catches the ball, you are at least 8 yards off of this man. So he has a free release. Nobody makes contact with him until he's full speed. And even then, you didn't make the contact you need to make. Once you roll it, you can go ahead and roll it. I want you to pay attention. Wildcat's going to come up towards the SEC logo. Hey, they coming this way. He getting close. Number 8 runs down the SEC logo. He's supposed to make contact with him right there. You can run that back. Run that back. So, boom. Wildcat, SEC logo. Hey, they running man. He going up. He should have went full speed ahead. Right there, pause. Boom. And you already missed it. But I can show you right there at the SEC logo. Not the 2 guys. But right there. Number 8 rolls there. You at least got to chip this receiver that's running free. This man has been running for damn 7 yards and no contact. He going to do what the hell he want to do at this point. If you at least bump him, you at least slow down the chemistry and the timing between the quarterback and a receiver, and then you can go ahead and run the play. And my guy Hudson Clark can make a play on the ball. But what does Hudson Clark do? Give me the interception, bitch. Nope. He called it on Hudson Clark and kept running. And I was like, as my coach just told me, son, you got to put his dick in the dirt. You're supposed to knock his jockstrap on the damn field. How the hell you let him catch it in front of you and keep running? Boom, he should have knocked his dick in the dirt. That's what he should have did. His jockstrap should have fell on the hog snout on the field. That's what should have happened. But he went for the ball instead. He called it in front of him, and he got loose. Yeah. And number one, you got Snacks. He was just running. He was just getting his steps in for the day because his ass got burnt. But yeah, that was an interesting play. And my guy, damn Hud Island, it ain't your fault. It ain't Hud's fault. I'm gonna keep taking up for Hud. But that's that, man. That's all I got on football. Y'all got anything for wrap up football? All right, really. So the Hogs finally lose in basketball. And I was wondering if anybody was going. I made a post previously before the season started and said, did y'all want to fire Musselman now or y'all going to wait till they lose? And people were so upset by football, they couldn't even be mad at Musselman. They were so mad at everybody else. Like, I mean, it happens. I'm like, oh, interesting. It's a great perspective. So I understand. I'm not making fun of the fans, but I understand. We need something to hang our hat on. This basketball is it right now. So I think some things I looked at in the basketball game was some of the same things we've been seeing. It's just the fact that we played against different type of opponents. I ain't say less opponents because Purdue is a great opponent. But we was able offensively to make things happen. in this particular game, our inability to defend the 3-point that was big. That was big,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of dribble drive. I can't think of the young man's name, but he was doing a lot of going to the rack and then kicking it out, and they were shooting threes on us. So that was the thing I think. So I think defense has to be our offense. If we score less and have more stops, I think our defense can lead to offense. But that's what I saw when I watched the game.
Yeah, excuse me. I really think the last two games, closing out on the three has been a problem the last two games, to be frank. And also rebounding has been a little bit of an issue. We need a little bit more of team group rebounding. It worries me a little bit, but I want to make a positive spin and say that they're looking forward to the battle at Atlantis and looking forward to those opportunities and thought they may have had it in the bag, but they shouldn't have if that were the case because the last game was pretty tight as well. I don't know. I like our guys. We just had an off night, I believe. But you got to. They should have when they realized they were missing. They should have went into March Devo mode and just attack the rim. Just keep attacking because that was our bread and butter and that was what was working and we didn't do it as much as we should have.
Yeah, we hit a three early on and then went till I think the last 3 or 4 minutes without a three. And, that's one of those things that we only had 7 assists for the game. It's because we weren't hitting jump shots. We weren't driving. So, our assists were down. But, Manny Watkins said it, I think, during the Old Dominion game that it seems like it's something with Fayetteville that people come in and they either have their worst game or they have their best game. And I think that guy's name was like Singletary, something for Greensboro that had hit like 2 threes all year and then hit 5 or 6 in the game, against them on Friday night. So you hope that that's your kind of like get the non-con loss out of your system and move forward. So you hope that's what it is. I think that it was good to happen before Battle for Atlantis so that going to the Bahamas, they can address whatever needs to be addressed from that game and from the Old Dominion game, because now you're getting into this 2-week stretch of, Stanford and then Michigan or Memphis. And then the third game's to be determined based on which side of the bracket we're on, and then Duke the following week. So your next 4 games are really going to show us, where this team's at. Because we can say what we want. I mean, yeah, the Purdue game was great. It was good to gauge things at the beginning of the year, but it also was an exhibition game, even though it didn't have that feel. But, we can go back to last year's Texas exhibition game where we got blown out. And then we still went to the Sweet 16. So it's hard to gauge those exhibition games of where you're really at. So I think that this 4-game stretch right now is really going to show us.
Absolutely. I'm sure Musk's going to be pissed at the presser, but either way.
Well, and it's good. I mean, he comes out in the in the press conferences post game and the next day and just flat out tells it how it is. Giving them F grades and telling rebounding sucks. Right? Doesn't use sucks, but just telling everybody like what the issues are.
That man
because he sees it. He's frustrated.
That man said double F.
Yeah. And I mean, we tied in rebounds. I think we both had 28 rebounds. We actually had more offensive rebounds than they did, but it seemed like when Greensboro needed to hit a 3, they hit it.
Right. And going into a Battle for Atlantis, the whole 3-point shooting with Stanford, their style of play, they're going to want you to play their style. They're not going to want to run up and down the floor. They're going to be pretty much a half-court team at the end of the day. They used to have a nice little decent post player. And some dude that looked like Joseph Pinion that's gonna be in the corner shooting threes. That's what's usually gonna happen. I'm just saying. But it'll be interesting to see how we look against them. I think Memphis. I don't want to see Michigan. I really don't want to see Michigan. I'd rather see Memphis. And I just seen Memphis coach go off on some dude. They played a game the other day and they handshake. the handshake line got serious. So I don't know what they were beefing about. I'm sure it was a call in the game, but either way it go, you got Stanford, you got either Memphis or Michigan, and that's going to tell us a lot about who they are going into Duke. And I've been sneak watching some Duke games. Ooh wee. I don't know about Atlanta is going to really get us ready for what Duke can bring. Duke is a different type of team. Um, and the way that they decide to run their offense and the length that they have, it's going to be real interesting to see how we uphold against it. I'm intrigued to find out how we play in Battle for Atlanta to see how we look against it.
Yeah, and it's hard to use like the comparison stats this early in the season, just because things are skewed. If you've only had 4 games, so it's kind of hard to really see where you're at. But like right now, I mean, Stanford's averaging 88 points a game. We're at 84. The thing that stuck out a lot to me was they're averaging almost 19 assists a game, and we're at 13. So that's one of they're moving the ball, they're making shots, kind of like you're talking about that guy sitting around the corner. They're getting the ball to their shooters. The little bit I've seen of them, I don't see them drive as much, but I also haven't been that invested in watching them either. So It's one of those that we're going to see a different style of play out of Stanford than what we're used to, I think.
And I think in the last presser, Musk talked about we've done the same thing defensive for the past couple of years. We're going to have to make some changes. So I'm interested to figure out with a team probably is going to play like Stanford. Are you going to go man to man? Are you going to go more man as opposed to going more zone? Because if you got 19 assists a game, you moving that thing, and somebody's going to be left open in the corner, like I say, to shoot the 3. So we recognize that shooting the 3 or defending the 3 is going to be an issue for us initially. So I wonder if they'll go more man going into this next game. So we'll see what it looks like.
Yeah, trying to see who they've played so far this year.
Who, Stanford?
Yeah. Well, that's last year.
I know Greensboro almost beat Vanderbilt before they played us.
They lost by like 3, I think, or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, they were just an experienced team that, had a bunch of returners, so they had a chemistry. They knew how to work a defense and find a guy open on the other side, basically. And it ate us up.
That's crazy.
So far, I don't see that they won. Stanford won their last game against Eastern Washington, 95-70. So, I mean, that's been kind of the typical, haven't really played many people or many bigger names.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see. I mean, I feel like Stanford's always got some tall white guy that's about 6'10", 6'11", that can, I know.
Yeah. Some tall, fundamental white dude who will block your shot, will alter your shot, and will get those nice little field goal percentage in the paint. Absolutely. And it's going to be interesting to see how we defend against that.
But flip side, so I've got their schedule pulled up. They have beat CSUN, whatever that is, Sacramento State, Santa Clara, and Eastern Washington. So we're their first true test. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
Because they've lost. They're 3-1. So they lost to Santa Clara by 12.
But Santa Clara be one of them teams in the Sweet 16. You're like,
I'm sure.
It could be, yeah.
Well, I mean, that's like Arkansas having Lipscomb and North Little Rock. I mean, that was, a tournament team last year. That's not just some podunk, lower level school.
Right.
So
one thing I give credit for the staff is they're going to schedule some nice people in there. We may not know who they are. I think that they lower level and be upset that the game isn't as far score-wise that we think it should be. But they put the right people on there on the schedules to give them a test, see different styles of play going into conference play. So I'm interested to see that. And I've been watching a lot of conference basketball, watching the Missouris, the Mississippi States, the Auburns play different teams. It's going to be a hell of a year in the SEC when it comes to conference play in basketball. It's going to be a lot of different matchups that I'm going to like to see this year. So it'll be interesting. All right,
Anybody got any Thanksgiving tips?
I got a question.
Okay,
Can I ask a cultural difference question?
go for it.
What is stuffing? What
Okay,
what is
so stuffing and dressing are two different things.
absolutely?
A lot of people get those. I look at stuffing as obviously you go back to like, oh, that's what you stuff the bird, or stovetop, which most people, stovetop stuffing
In a box. It's
in a
in a
box.
box.
Yeah.
Man. Mm-mm.
But,
Home-
typically stuffing, is in the bird. But
Gotcha.
the majority of people, it's done out of a box, name brand. Oh, unless you want to get like the best choice off brand. And then, the dressing usually comes from a grandmother's recipe or great grandmother's recipe.
Made with love.
So-
Look, this is why we had these conversations about cultural differences. Because my family, we don't eat no damn stuffing. We eat dressing. So I've had stuffing before, but I'm just so hooked on dressing it just for cornbread dressing. Which means your cornbread got to be right to make the dressing fire.
Not dry.
No, it got to be fire. Not dry, but it got to be fire. Which is slang for fire, which is slang for good.
And if you're
tasty.
If you're deep frying a turkey, thaw it out first.
No. Just drop it in there and start a damn fire and call the police department in a minute.
The police department? Okay.
I mean, yeah. The fire. You call it.
It's one of those. But hey, we'll have Razorback basketball to watch on Thursday, the whole break.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to the Missouri game so I can talk a lot of trash. Win, lose, or draw. I'm gonna talk trash.
Because let's be honest, the Missouri fans deserve it.
Hey, the Missouri fans said they're gonna stripe out our stadium.
Yeah,
I want to see how this shit gonna turn. Yeah, and you got to think about it. This is a time where a lot of students are gonna be gone because it's the holiday break.
Mm-hmm.
Man, they're gonna go in there and do what the hell they want to do. What you gonna have some senior citizens tell them they can't do that shit? No, they're gonna do what the hell they want to do and stripe out our stadium. That's gonna be crazy. That'll be crazy. I would love to see a brawl on Dixon Street after this game and just say, everybody be safe. But say, hey, man, you can't come in Fayetteville and do that.
I mean, it doesn't matter if we were 11-1 at this point or 0-11, whatever. You don't let the other team's fans come into your stadium and stripe. I mean, that I feel like Tennessee did that to Vanderbilt a few years back.
Mm-hmm.
Is this tasteful at the end of the day? Distasteful at the end of the day. All right, before we close out, I got a couple questions. We also getting to the point. Damn, Will. Somebody look at Will's question. Will got a real question. So I got a question. Going into the end of the football season as a whole, not just Razorback. And they're talking about the tournament and who's going to make the last couple teams. Who you guys like? Who y'all top two teams that y'all like that y'all been watching? I didn't say who gonna make it to the championship. I just said who do you like? Top two teams. Who you like?
You don't want to go all four?
Well, sure. Go ahead. It's gonna be the same four teams, ain't it?
I don't know, because you got to look at what is Florida State going to be able to do without their quarterback.
They ain't gonna do shit. Look, what you got, sir? Since you got all the analysis, who you got your top four teams?
Let's see. Georgia, Michigan. I think Bama might sneak in there. I think they might. Just if Milroe does well, it's going to depend on this week, really.
Washington.
Yeah, probably Washington. Yeah.
I like Washington. I like Georgia for sure. Florida State, but I think Florida State will have to make that adjustment with the quarterback, so that'll be interesting to see how that looks. And I think they just throw Bama in there just because it's Bama. I mean, Bama may be the best one-loss team out of anybody. And I just think, just for the sake of continuity, why not throw Bama in there and just give Saban an opportunity to swing his way to the top? What about Ohio State? Y'all ain't got Ohio State in there?
Well, I think that's going to come down. I mean, it could be Ohio State and Michigan at the 2 and the 3.
if the way Michigan played Penn State, ain't no way in hell they're gonna go to Ohio State and beat Ohio State. I can't see it.
But the only way I think Bama would get in is if they beat Georgia in the SEC championship game.
But Georgia can afford to lose the game if they.
That's what I'm saying, though. That's the only way Bama. That's the
Yeah.
only way Bama could sneak in at the 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Is
I didn't
if they
even think about that
beat
part.
Georgia.
It's hard to beat a team twice in SEC.
So,
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
but then you still got Oregon and Texas flirting with that right outside the top 4.
Okay, you got something. I like how you looked up some stuff real quick.
You know, we have to down there.
The fact that Bo Nix is trying to win the damn Heisman and he's 27 years old, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of his ass. I really am. Like, I like watching Oregon because they score a lot of points and they like the uniforms, but I'm sick of his ass. I don't want to see him play in the damn Final Four. So, but it'll be interesting to see what they do. A lot of times we see teams like that. They play well until they play quote unquote powerhouse teams, and you can say that for the SEC. At the same time, the SEC has been down. So I don't know what can happen, but it'll be interesting to see. I like Washington out of anybody on the West Coast, though.
It'll be interesting, like, come this off season for Texas. I know people hate Texas, whatever, but, you know, the Arch Manning came into Texas, and then when they were set on Ewers being their starting quarterback, okay, that was going to give Manning a year. But now Ewers has came out and said that he's coming back next season.
Oh.
He already has said that. So now it's, okay, is Manning going to transfer? Is he going to sit for 2 years?
Ain't no way.
Exactly.
Ain't no way.
Or does he go somewhere? And, I mean, I read earlier today somebody threw out USC just because Lincoln Riley puts quarterbacks into the NFL.
Makes
but,
sense.
you know, they a lot of people are speculating that Arch Manning will be on the move. So,
I can tell you one place he ain't going.
Arkansas.
He ain't fucking going to Fayetteville. That's where he ain't going.
He's going to go to Texas A&M depending on who they get as a coach.
Because of the money. It makes sense. It makes sense. But either way, guys, I guess that's a show for this evening. Wait a minute. I got, because Will got a lot of letters, a lot of characters on this question. Let me read this. Okay. I'll make sure I get it. I don't know if I missed 2. Because I thought somebody else was going to get it, but apparently you didn't. So with Sammy P. Stan, what do you guys think needs to happen to the team? I think we need to clean house on offense, keep Jimmy Smith guiding Morgan Turner. I agree with all that. But we need to change to a less predictable offensive style offensively. Need a new, young OC with energy. I can dig that, Will. I can really dig that. I guess my question is, if I'm a young, energetic OC, do I understand what situation I may be walking into? It's a possibility. I could call all the right plays, but we're not recruiting or evaluating the talent properly. And then I'm one and done 1 year like I'm Nick Smith, a damn AB. I'm one and done. Like I'm 1 year at Arkansas and I put up all these numbers, and then I end up getting fired because the head coach get fired. So that's another thing you got to think about. But I absolutely agree with the retention of who you should keep. You got the best tight ends coach in the country. I'm going to say he the best tight end coach in the country because I've seen him produce multiple guys to the NFL, even lesser known guys. So I would say he is the best tight ends coach in the country. I like Jimmy Smith, great as a recruiter, has a connection with Georgia, and his room doesn't miss. He just bring in, real dudes. So I like the running back room. The Kenny Guidance situation, once again, I don't know because I'm trying to figure out if we were in a real world situation, not a football situation. If you were at your job filling a role while someone had been let go, and then all of a sudden you kind of semi-prove yourself or you feel like you've done enough, and they told you, all right, we appreciate your time and effort and energy. Go back to the role you was in before. And you looking like, for real? I could go somewhere else where I'm more valued and get more money. I don't know. So that's the one thing that's got me interested in that. We tried to experiment OC and Dan Enos, and it didn't work. Absolutely. That slow-paced crap is not going to work. Not with the teams that we're playing. What you guys got on that? What should we do with the team? You say clean house.
I mean, it's one of those that I think that any new OC that comes in, I think is going to bring his own guys as much as you may not want it. I mean, because I agree. Jimmy Smith is good at what he does. Morgan Turner has been known as the top tight ends coach in the country for years for a reason. I think those are two guys that you need to keep, that you can't get rid of. Obviously, this year would have been different if Has and Washington hadn't gone down for the sake of how it looks on Turner.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of questions that surround it. I mean, we're talking about young, energetic OCs. I mean, that's exactly what Guyton's trying to be. So that's kind of a double-edged sword with that, because then if you go after a young, energetic guy, it's like, well, you got one that's already on staff. So you get there's a lot of but like you said, the big question for somebody, if it's somebody from the outside comes in, is that question of, is this head coach even going to be here in a year, or am I going to have to find a new job again?
Right. Am I going to have to move my family?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And before we get going, speaking of moving your family, somebody brought to me, well, man, why don't you just go get Cliff Kingsbury from USC? And the man has been to the NFL. He's had success at Texas Tech. This is one thing I think I realized, like, you have to accommodate for the spouse of the coach. And a lot of these people haven't been to bigger places. If Fayetteville isn't what you think it is, if you're from the state of Arkansas, I get it if you're from the state, but if you've been on the West Coast, why would you want to move to Northwest Arkansas? You're going to be on a private plane every other week doing some shopping in LA. It doesn't make sense. If your wife is that chick and she used to being around that lifestyle, it's hard to succumb and just say, well, just come to Fayetteville and just go to the promenade and just go shopping. No, that's not going to happen. So that's a lot that has to do with it. You got to accommodate for the coach's wife as well. Best recruiter we have is Jimmy Smith. I agree. Boom. All right, you guys got anything?
No, I'm good.
No. I'm
Hey,
good.
man, I hope you guys have a great week. I'm sure you're going to do the least amount of work as possible at work this week, because you know you're not going to be at work on Thanksgiving Day. A lot of people getting paid today early. Y'all going to do a lot of Black Friday shopping. Good luck with that.
After 20 years of working in retail, I am not going to a store on Black Friday.
You're going to shop online. You seem like a shop online type of guy.
Oh, if I don't have to go into a store and talk to people, best believe. If I do go into a store, I have my AirPods in, so I don't have to talk to anybody while I'm in a store.
You're that guy?
I'm that guy.
Okay. I mean, I respect that. At the end of the day, man, I hope you guys have a great week. Have a great Thanksgiving, Turkey Day. Don't eat too much stuffing. Hopefully somebody in the family makes some dressing, some cornbread dressing, and some deviled eggs. And, like, you know, all the
Deviled
good stuff,
eggs.
man. Yeah, you're going to be farting all day, but it's delicious.
Never have had one and never plan to have one.
What? Are you serious?
It's just gross.
They're good.
Hey,
They're good.
Hey, before we get going, this is us chatting. I know people may be watching, but anybody got a favorite dessert they got to have for Thanksgiving?
Take your pumpkin pie and throw it in the trash.
Okay.
No, I mean, there's nothing that I have to have. I mean, I'll have a piece of pecan pie or something.
Yeah. We've got.
Well, you might have to do a what's it called? 23andMe test on you. Every week. You surprise me with some shit. So being in Georgia, I'm like, if I see another damn sweet potato pie, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm like, where is the pecans? I'm a pecan pie guy. I'm from Arkansas. I like pecan pie. I like pound cake.
See, I don't think of sweet potato pie. If somebody says like Thanksgiving, I don't think sweet potato pie does not come to mind. Like,
Really?
I think when I hear sweet potatoes, I'm thinking like a baked sweet potato with, brown sugar, and you can get them at restaurants here. Sweet potato fries. I don't think a sweet potato pie.
Oh, candy yams. That's what we call them, candy yams.
No.
You don't eat candy yams?
No.
I like sweet
Man.
potato pie.
Man, your ass be eat chicken tenders and French fries for damn Thanksgiving, don't you?
Negative.
Full of shit, Adam. Matt, is anything you gotta have for Thanksgiving, man? You looking forward to?
Man, I like the dressing. Look forward to that. I like hash brown casserole. I look forward to that.
The fuck is that?
You don't know what hash brown casserole is?
Cultural differences, dude. Who the fuck eating hash browns? It's not Waffle House. You eating
hash brown casserole?
Yeah,
look it up.
Okay.
It could be tater
I'm gonna
tot.
Google it. Okay,
Yeah, it's good.
Okay.
It's good, man.
gotcha.
And macaroni and cheese always.
Mac and cheese. That's Mac and cheese is universal. Mac and cheese, green beans, black eyed peas. Yes, no.
I'll
Okay.
say that for New Year.
Green beans.
Here and there, they gotta have bacon and stuff in them.
Yeah.
You the same dude that make a salad. They got a bunch of shit on it. It's not even a salad no more.
Yeah. Brussels sprouts.
You know what?
Yeah.
Oven roasted Brussels sprouts. Don't knock it till you try it.
That shit is good. I'm gonna give you that. Brussels sprouts good as shit. I'm gonna give you that.
Hopefully your turkey that either you make or your relative brings is not dry. You know, they make things called, you know, injectables, you know, put in there to help moisten it up.
Tony Satchers. Look, are you guys gonna have parsnips?
I'm not the Food Network.
I'm fucking with you. Look, real quick, Honey Baked Ham has the best turkey. Period. Honey Baked Ham has the best turkey, and by day 3, I'm making turkey salad. It's the best shit ever. I promise you. Just saying.
Get creative with your leftovers.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll be eating turkey for breakfast one day. Either way, guys, we didn't chat it long enough. It's been a great evening. We'll see you guys next week. We got basketball and football to review. Hope you guys enjoy the new layout. We'll see you guys next week.
Peace.
Have a good
Happy
one.
Thanksgiving.
Yep.